Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to episode 5 of the YBL Podcast. Today's guest is Polina Dobrotina, an award-winning contemporary, impressionist, and abstract artist. Guys, Polina is incredible. Her work style is amazing. She draws energy. In today's episode, I talked to her all about her process, how she came to learning about her creative gifts. Polina is clearly a very passionate individual with a care for inspiring people to arrive and meet their self authentically, perfect for the YBL podcast. The conversation blew my mind in many places. I learned new things about consciousness, about frequency. At one point, she guides me through a meditation to help me connect with my frequency. I basically went into a trance. But anyway, it was just a very fascinating, eye-opening, mind-expanding experience for me, and I really hope it is for you. So guys, you know the jam by now. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or a tea or some herbal tea. Sit back, relax, and join us around the YBL table as you learn from Polina Dobrotina. Good to go.
Yep.
So, hello, Polina. Welcome to the YBL podcast.
Hello.
Pleasure to have you here. How are you? How's it all going today?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Yeah, I've recently been on the journey. I guess as everyone, the journey here, I guess, was very interesting because I just noticed like all like birds singing around and just like the sky is actually beautiful today. And it's the first day it's not raining in 5 days.
It's quite warm today. When I was walking to, very disciplined on a Thursday morning, I wake up and go to yoga. And I was like, oh, I don't need my jumper today walking through Leicester Square.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But when you said the word journey, I thought you were like going straight into, I've just been on this spiritual journey.
No, I'm not gonna push you like this.
No, it's fine. We can go there straight away. It's good. The journey to here. You got here okay.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm really excited to have you here. I've seen some of your work on the website. I've not been fortunate enough to see it in person, but you are an artist. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
So I'm wondering if you'd like to just talk a little bit about that. This week I've done a little competition where I'm giving away a free tarot card reading, and it's all based around the origin of my name and where that's come from. So I thought maybe we could talk about your origin of how you started your work and hold that in mind for your conversation, for your answer. Yeah,
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, my journey in itself is very interesting. I'm originally from Russia. I made my way through France into England. And I've been also very artistic person. Like I like to do things with my hands. And during the art school, it was very easy for me. It was a natural thing to do. Like when something is natural to you and you're doing it in childhood, you don't necessarily realize that it's actually what you need to do.
Yeah.
You always like, oh, you need to study, or you need to like get a degree, get another degree, get a master's, get a job, like all those things. And my journey was in parallel. Like if you take me as a me, I was walking with another me, which is not me, like all the way, and doing it all together without necessarily connecting them to each other.
So when you say
like getting a job,
Yeah.
getting a career in client services or in marketing, it was a bit difficult without the realization. About 5 years ago, I think, when I started to do the group shows in London, I realized that it's actually something more than just a painting.
Okay.
It's something, because like you invite people to your group shows, or to the shows, they reflect. they can connect. It's similar to, I can connect to this painting that you have on the wall. And it was very hard for me to watch the videos and the podcast knowing that it's there.
Yeah.
But never taking it out. You see what I mean?
I see. Yeah, just so you guys know, before we click record, Polina told me off because I've had this painting hidden behind this daybed for every single recording, and maybe it's annoyed a few of you. And she said, can I ask you a favor? Bring it up. And I just honestly can't believe that I haven't thought to do that. But it is a really nice background and perfect because you are an artist. So the synchronicity of that does make me really happy.
It's right here. You see? And it's got a lot of energy from it.
Yeah.
And you can see like little petals flying around and all those things. It's very nice.
Yeah.
And I sort of started perceiving those things as gifts to humanity.
Cool.
You see, because technically, and now we're going into a bit of a spiritual thing. Technically, it's a cut. It's a clean cut between spiritual and physical. Okay.
Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
But the only thing was like the challenge for me personally, because I went from the group shows to the solo shows. The group shows are made to sell.
Right.
Or to just have a glass, walk around and go.
So would you say it's a bit performative? Or
it's a bit weird. I don't know, like it's not that you come to see the artist and you immerse yourself in their energy and you can feel it and you can actually get something from it and resonate and find some part of you that was hidden.
On display.
So I started to do the group show, the solo shows back in 2018.
Cool.
And it was a bit hard to at first to do an exhibition out of your own paintings, which didn't really match before, but they need to match now. Then it was a challenge to explain what was on the artworks because people were getting the wrong impression, and it was related to their intentions.
Okay.
It's like whoever is a person, they will bring themselves together, right? On to your show, and they can tell you all about the painting that is right in front of you, that is different for him rather than for you. For example, there was an interesting point on one of the shows where I always invite like everyone with the kids, everyone, like I love kids, so they're absolutely amazing. They can catch an essence without necessarily thinking about it, which is great.
I work a lot with children.
And
my drama therapy practice, I work at schools, so I work with a lot of children, and they are magic how they can access, I think, what adults lose touch with.
A little bit. But it's fine, like we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. I think a part of the journey is reclaiming your childhood and being playful and free again.
Exactly.
So
the fact that your body grows out doesn't mean that you stop becoming a kid,
still
right?
in there, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering quickly before we go into this, because I'm finding myself feeling immersed in the art, and as you're painting the picture of your shows, that sort of I'm there with you. Can you said you found it difficult to describe your art, but would it be possible to just share a little bit of the essence of it or something for our viewers here?
Colors and light is energy.
Okay.
All that we see around is energy. Matter is energy. It records the essence of it all, the vibrations, the frequencies. It's all connected. Now, when you think about the color in itself, color is a certain frequency of light.
Yeah.
And with the work that I'm doing, like it could be different. It could be when I'm like overthought something and I need to get it out. That's one artwork.
Yeah.
When I need to deliver a message, it's another artwork. And when you connect them together, like there could be a message in the one that I overthought, right? But in here, it's not easy to just because I'm on the spiritual, like when I'm painting, I'm on the spiritual side, of the world. I'm not really in the material world at all. I'm painting with palette knives, with the big blushes of color, and I'm just recording the energy. That's what I do. I record the energy in matter. And through the image, then a person could connect to spiritual world, to the part of themselves, to the collective, and to receive this message. Nice, huh?
Yeah.
But the only thing is that people don't necessarily look.
Okay.
They don't pay attention.
Do you mean as in they're not present when they're there?
Yeah.
Okay.
They keep thinking about things that happened to them or whatever.
Yeah.
And for this reason, I started to do the guided meditations on the private views, because it was important to bring people back.
So you give people headphones at your show, at your private views, or no?
I just stand there and they stand around me, and I just do the guided meditation.
So it's like a multi-sensorial experience.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very unique way of approaching it, I think.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I unlocked during the first solo exhibitions. At one point, I started to do poetry. I just it just comes to me. I just write.
Yeah.
And I wrote some songs, but I never recorded them. But it's like all, it's all there, and I could potentially take it when it comes to it. When the moment comes, it will be recorded. Yeah. But all the poetry actually helped a lot to navigate. A person would sit down in front of the painting. I would be at the back. And I would just channel the poem through them to the painting. And while I do that, they would look at this particular color with this particular word. They would the frequency changes, and therefore the perception changes. The perception of the color, the perception of the perspective. And all those things kind of come together in the end of the poem. And they sort of, not all of it enters the human being. Only those things that resonate and that are needed. That's, I guess, the essence.
I mean, it's beautiful. I'm so interested in, well, what has the response been since you've started giving these meditations and poetry? Have you noticed that people are shifting their presence?
Yeah, especially on the last exhibition, last private view. I've done, it was one of the big ones. And I guess that was the first exhibition which was in the corporate building.
Yeah.
It was not in a gallery. It was just in a big workspace, corporate building. And the paintings are very big. They're like this kind of size.
Okay.
They're exactly this size.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit bigger there. But you can't really not notice them.
Okay.
There was the place where it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess this helped for those who came to me for the first time. like people who come for the first time, then I try not to overload them straight away because it's quite unusual, and it's quite it's like somebody is trying to get to your core.
Well, yeah, especially
straight away, right?
Coming in from the more sort of corporate mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, one presumes there's less, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but less connection to the spiritual, to energy. That kind of language might feel so alien to people. And also like so there's like what you're talking about. So there's those hurdles to cross as well, which is always a fascinating space.
And not everybody understands, and not everybody feels comfortable with it. That's the worst thing. That people think that it's sometimes they would be like, oh, this is some shamanic thing or whatever, and I would be like, not really. Well, you think about it, what do you call it, shamanic? Like, obviously I can start like dancing around and do shit, but it's not necessary actually.
The time, like, it reminds me of in a drama therapy session, sometimes a myth will be so relevant, and not only do I need to work with a client so they feel safe enough to just sit and listen to a story, like I might be an adult, like, why are you telling me this story? But then also comes the opportunity to enact it and perform it. And that is also and so that the task of this, it feels very similar, is to relax somebody's ego to a point where they're willing to allow the core essence of their soul, their unconscious, to live through them. And it feels like your art, from what you're saying, is designed to connect people with that space. Which is just magic, really, when you actually think about it.
On the last private view, where Wendy was as well.
Wendy's my mum, by the way.
She's an amazing human being, and she. Can I just tell a story, like, very quickly?
Of course.
I met Wendy in Watkins. Because like I was working in a corporate entity, and I was feeling as if I'm being just like squished to the point that I can't move. And with that feeling, I always like use Watkins shop to just see like what kind of books are there. Maybe I need to read something, so I would come there, like find the book, take it, go home, read it up, and like change my mind a little bit. But this time I thought, readings. They do the readings in Watkins, so should I do that? Maybe should I do that? And I came there. I had to wait a little bit, and then she did the reading for me, which was absolutely true. She like, the main thing that she was saying was that I need to get back to myself because I've got very far. I've got very far, very far. And I sort of stopped caring about myself at some point. And she was someone who showed me that there are people who care. And there are those who are willing to help you even though they don't remember you. She would not remember me after the reading. Right before I went, she was like, Polina, can you do me a favor? Can you please invite me to your next exhibition? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I had no clue that she was not going to remember me when I come next time. Well, apparently it's like a defensive mechanism. I mean, you all know that, I believe.
I'm just going to give some context quickly. Watkins is a store on Cecil Court in London. It's the oldest esoteric bookshop in London. You walk in, it's amazing. You've got all your crystals, but there are books on everything you could imagine to do with like good living, esoteric living, spirituality, past life regression, shamanism, whatever. You go in there, that shop's got it. I've bought a lot of my tarot cards from there. And my mum is also a tarot card reader in the family business. And that's where Polina met her.
My favorite section is downstairs, where you go downstairs. There's the psychic books.
All the psychic stuff, all the occult stuff is down there as well.
Very nice.
Oh, and the energy. There's different There's different beings that exist in energetic form in that shop. I swear down. I love going in there.
Yeah,
because
no,
the
it's a
books can
great
just
thing.
jump off the shelf. It's like, oh, I meant to read this one today. Okay.
Yeah,
Like
and
it really
it's so
feels like that.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's so natural
Yeah.
to grab a book from there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I met her there, and she came to the private view.
Mhm.
And this private view was a bit different because first there was more space around, so I had to work with bigger audience and bigger space. There were 40 people who came, and usually I would get like 15.
Okay.
So it was a big jump for me.
Yeah.
And like meeting everyone and like telling this grab some drinks, walk around for an hour, take some pictures or whatever. Like my point was that like so I took all the poems out. They were originally right near the painting, so I took them out for people not to read them. The idea was that they would come and they would just immerse themselves into the paintings, and they would pick things which resonate to them, but just based on the color, without any sort of navigation, without my pivoting, without it, and compare it in the end of the exhibition, in the end of the private view, where I would do the poetry readings, and where their journey are gonna be locked.
Okay.
So I'm locking the journey by like I'm starting from the paintings. I'm coming back to the paintings themselves, but the person gets on a spiritual journey at the same time, which they don't quite understand. Maybe like some of them
tricking them.
No,
but it's good.
Yeah,
People need it. So
exactly, because like the exhibition was set up in the following way. So there were 7 paintings going from the painting called Welcome to the painting called World to Come. And you can read the poetry on my website. It's all there in the like books and things. Yeah. From the first painting, which I can even tell the frequency. The frequency is 378. I was raising them to 528.
Okay.
Just like 200 hertz jump. But...
So just for people that might not understand what that means in terms of frequency, can you?
Yeah, sure. So everything vibrates. Atoms vibrate. We made of atoms. We vibrate. When we vibrate low, we would feel anger, fear, things that you don't want. Like this is low vibration. This is not where you want to go. Now, from some point, like 250 hertz, and people can look it up. It's actually like it's a scientifically proved thing. So
I like my science and this is spiritual though. I think it's really important.
Yeah, it saves a lot. Yeah. So from that point, from that level, once you start feeling a bit like once you breathe in, breathe out, you decompress, you start to sort of unwind. You unwind your being to the extent where you feel fully comfortable and you feel fully at peace. Now, everybody has different frequency. In order to learn about your frequency, there is a very good meditation which starts with feeling the tip of your finger. Can you feel the tip of your finger?
Yeah.
Can you feel it vibrate?
Now you ask me, I think so.
Yeah, can you now spread it to your hand?
Yeah.
Now further. You don't necessarily have to look at it. And then you spread it all the way to your body. Then you start feeling your toes a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
how they vibrate. Vibration goes up in your body. Up, 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 goes through your belly, into your core, and you connect them all together in your soul.
Cool.
I feel it's very calm
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah. It made my brain just feel like it was going silenced, which is so hard for me to achieve in the city. With everything, I get very impacted with the surroundings. So
Yeah, and that it's for the mind, it's not easy because it can see. Like the visual things distract you quite a lot because visual things contain associations, projections, things like that.
Yeah.
If you just think of a song, what would it be?
Only Love by Ben Howard.
Look it up. What kind of frequency that?
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
your
find out.
vibration.
That's my vibration. Cool. Okay, it's a good one.
Yes, it says on the love. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's very good.
No, any song by Ben Howard, really. He changes. I preach about him on this show quite a lot. It comes in. So, but yeah, no. Fascinating. So, how did you realize that you know, everything is energy? At what point was that an embodied form of consciousness for you?
I had quite a difficult period of transition because I came here alone. I didn't have any family or anyone to like take me in or whatever. I made a decision to get married at one point, and I got stuck in a building in a house with someone who didn't necessarily understand me or love me at all. And it's been COVID, it's been a year. The amount of paintings that came out of it was drastic.
Yeah.
And I sort of, I got very depressed. Very, very depressed. And at one point, I just started disassociate myself from my body.
Okay.
It's quite an experience.
Were you aware you were doing that at the time?
I was. Yeah. My body was not aware I was doing this, probably. And I sort of started to feel like it's not actually real. Like all of this around this is a box that I live in. Why do I live in this box? I don't know. It just came out that way, right? Like I didn't pay enough attention not to be here. And all of a sudden I realized that I'm in the cell. Like I am in the cell of a matrix. Yeah, like if you skin down all the matter, if you skin it to the holographic level, you would realize that the cell that you were in was built by you. And I guess for me it was a big realization, and I immediately wanted to get out of it. And I went back to Russia through like different, it was an experience. Oh my God. I went to one airport, I was late for the plane. I went to a second airport, they didn't let me enter because I didn't have the Schengen visa. Then I went to the third airport, and from there I could only leave from there.
Yeah.
The whole thing unpacked within a year, I think, for me. From the moment where I was only painting and I was doing the live drawing shows during COVID on Instagram, to the point where, like, through my writing, to the point where I started to create absolutely different pictures.
Wow.
Absolutely different drawings, which are more expanded. I got out of that cell, which actually didn't exist. Like it's all. Some of it is patterns from childhood. Some of it is like projections from the family members or people like that. Or like very close people to you who, you know, they don't ask you to do something, but they would have an expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And this expectation would act like, for me, it is, I see it as a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Like the expectation is a certain boundary. It's not necessarily you have to expect something. It's you need to see the beauty in the things as they are. There is no perfectionism. It's all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is true. I used to, well, I still sometimes dabble a little bit in painting, but it's all digital. It's all on my iPad. And I used to look at other artists that were just immaculately perfect and I guess I learned to draw this way, but I used to just like try and replicate their style, try and be them. And then one day I just had a real fuck it moment. I know it's still contained on the digital screen, but it just became a freedom of expression. And it was just such a liberating journey. And I think what the story you're sharing feels like the moment where we break free of our perceived, you used the word cell, I suppose, or that if there's a life beyond the life that we have, that we want, the moment that we break free of that, I do think that, like, for me, the way that spirit works is we have to be the one to activate it. We can't just sit and wait and wait and wait, even though we're maybe moving in that vibration of that, but that helps us attract it when we sort of, but we have to be the one to make that action.
Exactly.
So that shift in art for you, that
it takes a leap of faith.
Takes a leap of faith, huge leap
of faith.
And now you're painting energy.
I was always doing that.
Oh, you're always doing it. Yeah.
But it's like in different form.
Yeah, sure.
So the form varies.
Yeah.
It becomes more defined. Like now, it becomes more defined from the draft, like I would call draft emotions, draft feelings, where you just like on the canvas. And you're like, that's how I feel. That's how I color. Like, fuck it. To like at the moment, I'm in the field where I'm painting the ways. I'm painting the ways. Like my next exhibition should be just filled with different ways. Ways. Like the roads.
Oh.
The where to go. Like that's the way.
So different ways. Wow.
For somebody who would come to the exhibition, because at this particular moment I just realized that I'm not painting for myself anymore. Like it's just isn't right. I have to paint for the world. I have to paint for people. For them to look at my paintings at some point and just realize that, oh, it's actually okay.
Yeah.
It's actually okay to be me. It's actually okay to be in my state. I can be upset. I can be happy. I don't have to be. I don't have to adhere to someone's expectations at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And best, I don't have to adhere to them at all. That's a big thing, and that's a big leap of faith because you're believing in yourself.
Yeah.
And why is the way? Because if you have the will, there is a way. Yeah, you have the free will.
Yeah.
Everybody has the free will.
Yeah.
And I just really want to give people the way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they forgot where to go.
Well, they've never even been taught how to.
Yeah.
And we have to learn that there is a way. And
Yeah.
also, yeah, that belief in self, I think, is such a fundamental it's such a fundamental lesson and area of growth that we undergo. Because I understand that experience, and that's I can see how our work meets, because that's what I do in my tarot card readings. Is I hope to just show people there is a way. You say it much better than me. But it is that, yeah, really, really powerful, really profound, really cool. And it's nice, it's inspiring, it's interesting when we connect to our own personal story, and then that's where the medicine comes from.
Yeah.
And then we can use that to bring that change for whoever we are drawn to or is drawn towards us. That then becomes part of the mixing pot of meeting, I suppose. So have you noticed in that sense, as you've made this transition into I guess your more authentic self, are you meeting different types of people than you once did? Has that shifted for you? Because I'm interested in frequency on that vibration, how when you stop vibrating at a certain level, people just seem to fall away.
Yeah, a lot of people fall
Yeah.
away. Yeah. During the past 3 months, I went through a big energetic transition. I went from the very low vibrational frequency into the very high vibrational frequency, which is a very big shift.
Yes.
And
Like this? Instant?
no, I feel like you know,
Yeah.
it's you can't do it like that.
No. I mean, it would drive you go mad, wouldn't you? You'd absolutely go mad.
It would just be you will not have time to digest.
Your ego, like I've experimented with magic mushrooms at one point.
Yeah.
And so what you were showing me, what you were sharing earlier about it all being code and everything, I saw that essentially, but my experience of Earth it's more just like a big fairground. And there's different experiences, and you can pay for different experiences.
Hey,
You have to have money to have an experience.
that's interesting.
So I do see that money now works energetically as well. And for not every experience, if you want to go walk outside, you have to pay for that.
Yeah.
But for example, if I want the experience of a coffee,
Mm.
I've got to have enough money in my pocket to go and buy the ticket to have the experience of the coffee shop, the interaction with the barista, all of this. Likewise, if I went to the pub or the cinema, so everything's just like a big fairground attraction. And there are different experiences, some nice, some bad. You can, and part of that is your soul is kind of signed up to those experiences karmically as well. But you can choose, I think, energetically, and I'm still kind of working out my philosophy on how it works. But I can remember after I saw this, because I used to not have fun on Earth. So what the mushrooms showed me was, you're here to have fun. You're here to live in joy. You're here to live in bliss. And I was very angry, very upset. I was attracting relationship upon relationship that was causing me misery and upset. And because I follow my heart, being an Aries. And so I experimented with these in a very ritualistic form in my room, and they showed me this is a playground. Learn to have fun. But then my ethic around work shifted as well, and I actually began to really enjoy working. And that's when the YouTube channel came, and that's when everything started to align, because I do think that we have to keep our foot in the material as we're connected to the spiritual and bring them together. And I can't remember how I got onto this point. So, what were we talking
It
about?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But yeah,
how it works is there are different levels. You're right.
yeah.
There's a level of joy. There's a level of anger.
Mhm.
It all exists at the same time.
Yeah.
It all exists, but on the different levels.
Mhm.
The point of vibration, the default point of vibration, determines reality.
Yeah.
The intention determines the way. Whatever you notice, like, always focus on your inner growth, on your inner desires. Listen to your soul's desires. Listen to, even if it's like, I want to listen to the song now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the song on. Do it for yourself. Just because this might unlock a little piece, which would then lead you to something else, like a YouTube channel and the podcast that we're currently in, right?
Yeah.
You didn't think that this would happen before when you started creating the podcast.
No. Yeah.
But look how it all kind of turned around. It doesn't matter.
I didn't think this picture would be here like this.
You have a background.
No,
today,
I've got a background. I've actually sat and had a thought, like, I need to get a good background. Like, I've literally thought about it. So anyway, it's funny. But yeah.
Yeah, but you see,
yeah.
it doesn't really matter. And listen to the word. It is not matter.
It is not matter.
So when you want to get somewhere, when you set the intention, I want to travel or whatever. Like, I want to travel, please.
Yeah.
Just leave it there.
Yeah.
We know the universe knows you want to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the universe needs to find the ways to make you travel.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the particular place you would like to travel to, intend the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to go to the sea, imagine the sea. If you want to go somewhere to mountains, imagine mountains. Imagine the air that you breathe in. Imagine that you're just standing there and you're just enjoying this view of the beautiful lake, and it's all in front of you, right there and then. And just be with it for a second. And then you can go and do your own things. Yeah.
So
be in your presence.
The notion of then you have this visualization, you almost imprint that embodied energetic awareness on your cells, on your mind, on everything of your being and
on your
frequency. What would your advice be? Like, because then for people to just, then you've got to let it go and trust, right? Then comes the trust.
Then comes the trust issue of the mind and the ego
and the
that
mind
doesn't
and the ego.
trust it.
And I noticed that I come up against that barrier a lot. With some things that I really care about, that's where the barrier is. And so letting go of even caring
that's the big thing.
Yeah,
that's a big shift. Because ego is made to bother. Ego is made to not care, but bother. The only function of the mind, the original function of the mind, how the mind was created, and we're not gonna go there, please. Don't make me explain those things.
All right. How was the mind created, Polina?
But the function of the mind is to be here and now and make sure that you're safe. Ego goes a bit further. It not only makes sure that you're safe, it thinks of the potential ways how can it not be safe.
Yeah.
And if you get if you give your ego freedom to do that, if you just like don't realize at some point and all of a sudden you're very depressed, first ask yourself, what is it? Why is it? Talk to your ego. Ego is actually a friend. It's not your enemy. It's something that exists in order to prevent you from dying on earth. Ego goes together with the mind. Yeah, there is no ego without the mind. There is no mind without the ego. So when you find this peace in yourself, when you tune in and say just like, okay, I get that my ego is unhappy. What is it? Because most of the times, ego is trying to get the messages of the soul, but it would take the reality into account. And depending on this, like the reality's terms, ego would make the decisions and the choices, and it would speak for you, and like all that. So it's actually a vehicle. Like you need to see it as a vehicle, not as a boundary. Because it will help you to achieve some things. It will help you to rise above and see things as they truly are for yourself. You see, so you need to get your ego in the position similar to your spirit.
And so to get there, the ironic thing is, well, my experience is my ego has to take a huge bashing and beating and be knocked not in a healthy way, in like a tower moment way. Something will happen almost where the inner reflects the outer and vice versa, and then it all crumbles, and then out of that space, it's almost like the rebirth itself could even be the rebirth of ego with a, I want to say more relaxed ethos, like not holding on so tightly, but there seems to be layers. And I just find that fascinating because, earlier we mentioned about going from the low frequency to high frequency really quickly. Like your ego could not.
It cannot now. It physically cannot.
Physically cannot.
You will die.
Well, exactly.
You cannot do that.
That was the point I was saying about the mushrooms. Because it took me about 4 days to process that my reality, how I see the world, would be different. Like that, when you have these huge spiritual awakenings, it can take some time to adjust.
How did it feel to sit in front of the computer?
It wasn't so bad. It was like at the time I was doing this thing called Barista on Tap. So this is why I use the example of different coffee shops. And like I remember sitting on my break and pedestrians walking up with their dogs, and I could just see as far as the end of the road. And I thought, that's all just code. This is all just code. That dog is now a program. I look at my little dog Flo and I see her as, she's a soul, but she's a program for a dog to. And then the program in me goes, oh, you're so cute. And I just suddenly and then what you mentioned, when it all just doesn't feel real anymore, we have to still be on earth and having a beautiful time. But when it's not real, it shouldn't matter. Yet it does matter because it is matter, but it isn't matter. Very, very, very. It's very interesting. So I think the gift that we are given by spirit, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that. We have about 10 more minutes left, I think. Is these layers of spiritual unraveling that we go on to meet authentic self come in a way. I can see you looking. Do you want me to clarify?
No, yeah, go on.
Come in a way, they are gradual. They are given to us at a time where we are ready to, and we might not feel ready in the moment, but it arrives when it's almost time for that leveling up, that reclaiming of a part of self or something like that.
Yeah.
That's my experience anyway.
It does sound like a game.
Yeah.
A bit like that, but like when there's a very particular picture that I'm seeing when you when you say it. You go, so imagine the arch. There's an arch. Yeah. So you are on the path, your own personal path. No one can get on your path. It's your rail. It's your train. And gradually you would, like, your train will go this way, your train will go that way, you will pivot, etc., etc. There are all sorts of different roller coasters in life that you're experiencing, right? So imagine yourself in front of the like on the first seat of the roller coaster. And imagine the game Sonic X. And as you go, you need to jump. You will go through the portal, and you would level up a little bit. Yeah, like bring, and you will level up.
Yeah.
So this would be your not an additional level. It's an upgrade of the code.
Yeah.
You are the program as well. You have the light code. And different light codes bring different perspective of the world. Things like new people, which align with those light codes, which are vibrating on your level already. So as you go along your journey, you would level up. But if you allow yourself to get stuck in the train, you will not level up. And you cannot do that.
No.
Wrong. You can, if you need to relax. If you need to boil it down, if you experience some drastic events and you need to, refurbish yourself a little bit, take your time.
Which you have to do, don't you?
Exactly. Train is not going to go further if you don't do that.
Yeah.
It's broken.
You don't want to carry those broken parts.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you will realize that your train actually becomes lighter, and all of a sudden it's a dragon. It's a flying dragon that's just going along the way, and you don't actually have the track anymore. It doesn't matter. Like, fuck it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to leave. It's okay to be playful. It's okay to grow and to be interested in something that you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's actually you were talking about money, that it gives you like a ticket, yeah? I have a different perspective of it. And I see money as something that unlocks. So something that isn't like, if you do more of what you like to do, those money that come from that are actually better than the money that you were earning with the hard work.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like, yes, it's like your ticket to abundance, but it's not necessarily you have to worry about money.
No.
It's just do what you like, and the money is just gonna come.
It comes to you, become the magnet for it. But I think that you have to have I suppose my reasoning for saying that came from a space where I once saw money as a bad thing. I had a negative reaction to money.
Yeah, me too.
And so healing came from when I was like, well, actually, it can be used for good, and therefore, okay, why not? And I dabbled in that actually in the last episode of my podcast. So I won't go into it again, but it was healing. It was so healing. Yeah. It's another frequency, I think.
And now you have a different perspective, different realization.
Yeah.
And from this point, you are learning again. You don't live in the space that you know how it works already. You're interested because you don't actually know how it works
I'm a
yet.
student. I just
student.
Yeah.
And it's fun to be a student.
Yeah.
Fun to explore.
Yeah.
Fun to go about your day and just like see random things, speak to random people, and maybe, you know, one day if you go into the coffee shop and you just chat with the barman, he'll give you a free coffee.
Well, it's funny you say that because I did get free coffee from the coffee shop that I used to work at. Closed down. It's closed down now. Anyway, but free coffee now when I have to pay for a coffee, I'm like, well, this is a different simulation. This is a different experience.
Yeah, put this for free.
This is for free. Yeah, just go in. I'm not paying for that. So yeah. Oh, Paulina, I could honestly talk for hours with you. My mind is grown. I've learned a lot in this. It's been a real pleasure connecting with you. So
thank you so much for inviting me.
thank you so much for being here. Is there anything, any last things you want to just throw on in? I'm putting you on the spot here. I know. I was thinking, for some reason, you were that transition from putting your art out there. For anybody who's got a skill, a talent that wants to get going.
Just do it. Just do it already. Stop dreaming about it. Stop thinking about it. Just fucking do it. Take a piece of paper and draw it, whatever you're thinking about, or write it down, the word itself. Make it real. Otherwise, like you just will keep sitting in this dark spot which you don't really like and which doesn't show you much. And you don't really want that. When you get this, when you unlock this door, I mean, the door is open always, and you're always your authentic self. That's the main thing. That's the main thing that everybody needs to understand. Every artist, every creative, and whoever you are, even if you're creative with numbers in finance or whatever, it's your job to get to this authentic self. And to then hold the vibration of earth, which is very, very important, especially at the very uncertain times where the balance of the forces in the world is not necessarily perfect. And we have to help. With our vibration, we're helping to raise the frequency of earth. So it's in each artist and each person's it's in every person's interest to become an artist.
Whoa.
Yay.
Oh, wicked. Thanks so much. I'll end it on that note. Beautiful. Okay. Thanks, Polina. Thank you.
Have a good day.